It's Monday, May 16th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. Following the latest local news, Rob Adams will have a look at your forecast and a Nutmeg sports update, and Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history. But first, a beautiful spring morning Saturday turned nearly tragic when 5 children under the age of 12 were taken to the hospital after being involved in an accident with a golf cart in Trumbull near Madison Middle School. Trumbull police said that the incident happened around 10 in the morning when a golf cart being driven on a hill rolled back and struck the children who were riding in the cart and had fallen out. According to Trumbull Police Lieutenant Leonard Cinto, the 5 children were between the ages of 3 and 12. Trumbull Police and EMS units responded with assistance from Stratford EMS, transporting the children to local hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. Cinto said the incident occurred during an American Youth Soccer Organization soccer tournament that was being held on the field adjacent to the middle school. Cinto said the investigation revealed that an AYSO official was operating an AYSO-owned golf cart between soccer fields with 5 passengers. The operator was attempting to maneuver up a hill when the front wheels came off the ground at the crest of the hill, causing the operator to lose control. There's much more on that story at TrumbleTimes.com. And Bridgeport police on Saturday identified the alleged shooter of a teenager who was killed while he sat in a car in the Hollow neighborhood of the city. According to the Connecticut Post, 19-year-old Deontay Tomlinson of Bridgeport was charged with murder, carrying a pistol without a permit, unlawful discharge, and altering identification markers on a firearm. He was being held in lieu of a $1 million bond pending an arraignment today in court. Tomlinson is accused of fatally shooting 18-year-old Cahill Sloan Diaz shortly after noon on Friday. Captain Brian Fitzgerald, head of the Detective Bureau, said Sloan Diaz was shot 3 times in the neck and wrist as he sat in a silver Audi on Madison Avenue. 3 months earlier, Sloan Diaz was acquitted by a jury in connection with a gangland shooting on a downtown street. Bridgeport police said Friday's shooting was gang-related and appears to have been in retaliation for the earlier shooting. Sources said Tomlinson was at the courthouse when Sloan Diaz was acquitted. And this morning in Greenwich, Round Hill Road is closed between Lake Avenue and Pexland Road, where a tree and wires are down, according to emergency services. The earliest repairs could be completed, police say, by 1 this afternoon. If it takes longer, those road closures could affect school buses taking students home. According to police, the damage was caused by high winds. And the Sherman man who was arrested last week after 48 years on the run is out on bail and hoping to escape a return to prison. Robert Stakowitz spoke to CBS this morning in an interview that aired today. The 71-year-old who grew up in Bridgeport says his 1968 escape from a prison work camp in Georgia was the dumbest thing he's ever done in his life. Stakowitz at the time was serving 17 years on charges stemming from an armed robbery. After the escape, he settled in Sherman, a quiet town in northern Fairfield County. His lawyer, Norm Pattis, told the Associated Press that Stakowitz got a job as an automotive teacher at Henry Abbott Technical High School in Danbury and also worked at a few Ford dealerships. Pattis said he will ask the Georgia Parole Board to commute the rest of his client's sentence. Stakowitz suffers from bladder cancer, diabetes, and other ailments. A routine power wash at the Darien Nature Center led to a small fire on May 2nd, prompting a response from Darien police and fire departments. According to police, a smoke condition was reported in one of the Nature Center classrooms at about 2:45 in the afternoon. Although there were no classes in session at the time, workers at the scene had been power washing the exterior of the building, and water from that washer made contact with an outdoor electrical outlet, creating a spark inside of the building wall. Firefighters were forced to open the exterior and interior wall of the building to ensure that the fire was properly ventilated and had not spread. Fire Marshal Robert Buck said he was on hand to inspect the scene. More on that story at DarienTimes.com. And a month-long Ridgefield police crackdown during April resulted in nearly 200 tickets for driving and texting and driving and talking on a cell phone. 80 drivers received tickets for texting, according to Captain Jeffrey Kreitz, a spokesman for the department, and 73 received tickets for talking on their cell phones while driving, another 4 while licenses were suspended. The You Drive, You Text, You Pay enforcement was carried out by officers working overtime under a more than $5,000 grant from the Connecticut Department of Transportation. According to Kreitz, 4 officers worked each detail on overtime. Under Connecticut's cell phone and texting laws, fines range from $150 for a first offense, $300 for a second offense, and $500 for each subsequent offense. An alumni of a prestigious boarding school in Connecticut formed a crowd to watch a State Department of Environmental Protection officer remove a furry party crasher from their reunion over the weekend. Dr. Alex Curtis, who's headmaster of Choate Rosemary Hall, says a 325-pound black bear was spotted on the prep school's Wallingford campus around 8:30 in the morning on Saturday. The bear rummaged around in trash cans before eventually climbing roughly 60 feet up a tree. Wallingford officers responded and helped control the crowd of spectators that had gathered. A DEEP conservation officer used the school's cherry picker to get close to the bear before tranquilizing it. Curtis said the animal was uninjured by his fall from the tree. Lieutenant Cheryl Bradley says the bear was removed by about 12:30 in the afternoon and was taken to a remote location. Well, we're going to throw it over to Rob Adams for a look at the forecast. Rob?
Okay, Kate, good morning, everyone. Have to chuckle at the loose bears. A mostly sunny day and a high near 62, but the wind has been the thing through the past couple of days. It's out of the west at 14 to 17 and gusts as high as 30. Tonight, partly cloudy and a low of 46, with the wind out of the southwest as it dies down a bit from 5 to 10. Chance of showers tomorrow, mainly after 1 in the afternoon, mostly cloudy and 67 otherwise. Thankfully, we're starting to warm up a little bit again. To Tuesday night, though, we drop down into the 40s again, only 48 for the low with a chance of rain. Wednesday, more rain on the way, mostly cloudy and 64. Come on, guys, we want to play baseball this week. Chance of precipitation, only 30%, so let's see if we can keep it out of the Danbury area. That's where we'll be Wednesday afternoon. Slight chance of rain before midnight Wednesday night. To Thursday, mostly sunny and 68. Friday, sunny and 71. We've got a baseball playoff game on Friday, so that sounds good. Saturday, mostly sunny and 72. And we move to Sunday, partly sunny and 72. All right, that sounds a lot better. But around the region right now, you're not going to love these temperatures. At least I don't think you will. I could be wrong. Norwalk, 51. Fairfield, 51. Shelton, 51 degrees, Kate.
Thanks so much, Rob. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Donald Lang takes a look back on this day in history. Rob has a Nutmeg sports update, and we have some more local news coming up after this.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well. With the 24-month Bank Well Smart CD, you can earn 1.25% APY and raise your rate and add to your CD.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with a Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network.
We're back on this Monday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network, and it's time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Eng. Check it out.
A new offensive in a long-running war, but first to 1843. The first wagon train headed for the Pacific Northwest sets out along the Oregon Trail with about 1,000 pioneers from Elm Grove, Missouri. The group would face many hardships along the way, including poor weather, starvation, and potentially, dying of dysentery. To 1866. The U.S. Congress eliminates the half-dime coin and replaces it with the 5-cent piece, also called the nickel. The half-dimes were much smaller than dimes in diameter, appearing to be, as you might have guessed, half-dimes. Powerful nickel interests, believe it or not, lobbied for the creation of the new coins that would be made of a copper-nickel alloy. The introduction of the copper-nickel 5-cent piece made these silver half-dimes redundant. They were discontinued in 1873. In 1918, the Sedition Act of 1918 passed by the U.S. Congress, making criticism of the government an imprisonable offense. The act stated that people in or countries cannot say anything negative about the U.S. government or the war. This was during World War I, under punishment of up to 20 years in prison. It would be repealed less than 2 years later. And finally, now we go to 1988 for this.
Research scientists have been saying it for some time now. Smokers have suspected it for years. Smoking is addictive as any drug. That word comes from Surgeon General C. Everett Koop, who put his latest stamp of disapproval on the cigarette habit today.
If I had my way, I would say it is just as addictive as heroin or cocaine.
Koop says because nicotine is a drug, it should be regulated by the Federal Food and Drug Administration. His list of recommendations include no cigarettes in vending machines, no free samples, no sales to minors, and licensing cigarette sales like liquor. And a suggested warning on cigarette packets, quote, smoking is addictive. Once you start, you may not be able to stop. Koop says this is what he can do short of banning cigarettes altogether.
Our nation has mobilized enormous resources to wage a war on drugs, illicit drugs. We should also give priority to the one addiction, tobacco addiction, that is killing more than 300,000 Americans each year.
That, of course, was Surgeon General C. Everett Koop stating that the addictive properties of nicotine were similar to those of heroin and cocaine, and essentially adding tobacco to the list of drugs that the U.S. was at war with. That is your look back in history for today, May 16th, and I am.
Thanks, as always, to Don. It's now time to throw things back over to Rob for a Nutmeg Sports Update.
All right, Kate, good morning once again, everyone. In boys lacrosse, Darien flirted with their first in-conference loss of the season, but Jack Niffin saved the day. The Blue Wave captain scored the game-tying goal with about a minute to go, then netted the game winner in overtime as Darien knocked off Greenwich 13-12. The Blue Wave improved to 15-0 on the year, while Greenwich dropped to 8-6. As we head to the scoreboard now, Mark Gallioni had 6 goals. Ridgefield beat St. Joseph 21-6. Ludlow got a 3-goal win over Trumbull 7-4. St. Anthony's of New York came back to Fairfield County. This time they left with a win. They beat New Canaan 8-3. McMahon over West Hill 8-1. Trinity Catholic got a 13-2 win over Central, and Wilton doubled up Norwalk 16-8. On the girls' side, Manhasset of New York returned to Fairfield County. They got a 15-5 win over Greenwich. It was East Catholic over St. Joseph 15-13. Ludlow beat McMahon by 15. Also Stamford over Amity 16-4, and Norwalk beat Trumbull 14-6. On to the baseball docket now. Fairfield Ward got a big win over Staples 12-4. It was Ridgefield shutting out Trinity Catholic 4-0. Ludlow 5, West Hill 2. Greenwich played themselves a unique doubleheader. Game 1, they beat McMahon 7-1. Then they went to Cubetta Stadium and they lost to West Hill 5-2. Notre Dame of West Haven beat St. Joseph 14-5. To softball now, it was Greenwich over Bacon Academy 8-5. Courtney Holden hit a 3-run homer to lead the Cadets. Nicole Williams struck out 13. St. Joseph over West Hill 5-2. Ludlow needed a 6-5, 8-inning win to knock off Norwalk. Trumbull over Newington 9-7. Then another doubleheader. McMahon beat Bullard Havens 9-7 and then beat them again 8-0, while Stamford beat New Rochelle, New York 6-0. Boys tennis winners were Ridgefield over St. Joseph 6-0. Danbury a 7-0 shutout of Immaculate, and Darien over West Hill 4-3. From girls lacrosse, Trumbull shut out Norwalk 7-0, and it was Darien shutting out St. Joseph. On to today's schedule. First and foremost, how about us, Fairfield Ward and Norwalk? Weather should be permitting. It doesn't look so great right now, but later on should be okay. Ward and Norwalk, that is at Nathan Hale Middle School, and that is a 6 o'clock first pitch tonight here on the HAN network. Also, you've got Danbury at New Canaan, Darien home for Greenwich, Trumbull is at Ridgefield, Stamford at Ludlow, Central at St. Joseph, Trinity Catholic is at Staples, and Wilton at West Hill. It is, of course, the last week of the regular season. Softball, New Canaan at Danbury, Greenwich home for Darien, it's Ludlow at Stamford, St. Joseph at Central, Staples at Trinity Catholic, Norwalk is at Ward. Trumbull home for Ridgefield, and West Hill goes to Wilton High School. Boys lacrosse, Bethel at Danbury, West Hill at Ward. From girls lacrosse, Norwalk home for New Milford, Brookfield at Danbury, Ludlow at Joel Barlow, and in a nightcap, West Hill at Bethel. On the boys outdoor track and field, Ridgefield home for Danbury, Central, Bassick, and Harding are all at Trumbull, Norwalk is at McMahon. From girls track, Danbury at Ridgefield, Darien home for New Canaan, St. Joseph at West Hill, Central, Harding, and Bassick at Trumbull, Greenwich at Staples, Norwalk at McMahon. On to boys tennis with Staples at Danbury, New Canaan at Greenwich, West Hill home for West Hill visits Central, I should say. Stamford home for Ridgefield, Ludlow at McMahon, Norwalk at Wilton, St. Joseph at Trinity Catholic, Amity at Ward, Darien is at Trumbull. You've also got girls tennis, boys golf, girls golf, and finishing up in volleyball with Greenwich at St. Joseph, Ridgefield at Danbury, Darien at Staples, and the Ward Ludlow Co-op at New Canaan. Last note, we'll announce the FCAC Athlete of the Week and the new nominees today on Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock. A big show today as we'll be joined by SCC Commissioner Al Carbone and Darien Baseball head coach Mike Scott. Donald Eng and I have the show for you today at 2, and of course, baseball later on. That's at 6 tonight as they kind of turn on the lights at Nathan Hale Middle School. With sports, I'm Rob Adams. Kate, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, getting back to a little more news today, U.S. Coast Guard officials say a missing kayaker was found safe over the weekend following a search of Long Island Sound that ultimately turned out to be unnecessary. According to CBS Connecticut, the incident began after an empty kayak washed up at Lighthouse Park in New Haven around 12:30 in the afternoon on Sunday. Crews from the Coast Guard station in New Haven responded to the scene and found the kayak along with some fishing equipment. Point crews began searching the water for a possible missing person with some assistance from an MH-60 Jayhawk helicopter and an Ocean Sentry aircraft. However, Coast Guard officials say that the missing man called local police at about 7:30 that evening to say that he was safe after he saw reports of the search. The 28-year-old Meriden man said he swam to shore after his kayak had taken on water. And in other news today, when 10-year-old New Canaan resident Oliver Chakarov was diagnosed last year with lymphoma, he had a fight in front of him. The 5th grader at Sachs Middle School immediately began chemotherapy treatment at Yale New Haven Children's Hospital. The son of Katerina and Svetlin Chakarov battled hard, according to New Canaan Advertiser, losing his hair but not his spirit. With his parents and brothers, Simon and Thomas, providing nonstop encouragement, Oliver is now back in school and as of April, according to his mother, has been classified as in remission. Oliver has decided to tell his story publicly, hoping that it would spur more funding for pediatric cancer research. He wrote letters to United States Vice President Joe Biden and Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy. Murphy has sent Oliver a handwritten letter in return, saying in part that he wanted to personally write back because he was so impressed by Oliver's courage to stand up and fight for kids all across the country. Murphy went on to say that I agree that we need to dramatically increase federal money for cancer research. I'm fighting hard to make this happen, Murphy said, and I can report that last year in Congress was able to add $2 billion to the medical research budget. Murphy went on to say, I will work even harder now that I have your story to inspire me. There's much more at ncadvertiser.com. And the Glass House in New Canaan will now be able to have up to 400 people at their annual fundraiser and between 51 and 150 people at special programs and educational events, thanks to New Canaan's Planning and Zoning Commission. The commission will reevaluate the 400 people limit for the annual fundraiser after a year to see how the change has gone. The Glass House's previous special operating permit allowed for only 250 people at the fundraiser. Other events that the Glass House may want to host will require some specific review and approval from Planning and Zoning, including the number of persons to be allowed at the event. There is much more on that story at ncadvertiser.com. And Reading Elementary School Principal Dr. Carrie Westman-Huber never intended to move into administration when she first started as a teacher at the school 16 years ago, but she's proven to be a natural at it. According to the Reading Pilot, this year, as the first students she ever taught are graduating from college, she was named the 2016 Dawn Hotspring Elementary School Principal of the Year by the Connecticut PTA. The local PTA, which includes parents and teachers, nominated her for the award by writing letters of endorsement. And you can see a lot more on that story at thereadingpilot.com. But we're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories we're following today, coming up on your coffee break after this. For more than 50 years, SSS has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities with locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford. SSS will get the job done fast, big or small. At SSS, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at SSSclean.com or 203-847-8000.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Can't wait for it to get warmer so you can start fishing again? Get over to the Dock Shop, where they have the latest in fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. You'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, DockShop.com.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this Monday edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today, including that a beautiful spring morning on Saturday turned nearly tragic when 5 children under the age of 12 were taken to the hospital after being involved in an accident with a golf cart in Trumbull near Madison Middle School. Trumbull police say that the incident happened around 10 a.m. on Saturday when a golf cart being driven on a hill rolled back and struck the children who had been riding in the cart and had fallen out. According to Police Lieutenant Leonard Cinto, the 5 children were between the ages of 3 and 12. Trumbull Police and EMS responded with some assistance from Stratford EMS, transporting the children to local hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. Cinto said the incident occurred during an AYSO soccer tournament that was being held on the field adjacent to Madison Middle School. The investigation revealed that an AYSO official was operating a golf cart between soccer fields with the 5 passengers. The operator was attempting to maneuver up a hill when the front wheels came off the ground at the crest of the hill, causing the operator to lose control. You can get more on that story at TrumbleTimes.com. And Bridgeport police on Saturday identified the alleged shooter of a teenager who was killed while he sat in his car in the Hollow neighborhood of the city. According to the Connecticut Post, 19-year-old Deontay Tomlinson of Bridgeport was charged with murder and other charges. He is being held in lieu of a $1 million bond pending arraignment today in court. Tomlinson is accused of fatally shooting Cahill Sloan Diaz, 18 years old, shortly after noon on Friday. Police Captain Brian Fitzgerald, head of the Detective Bureau, said Sloan Diaz was shot 3 times in the neck and wrist as he sat in a silver Audi on Madison Avenue. 3 months earlier, Sloan Diaz was acquitted by a jury in connection with a gangland shooting on a downtown street. Police said Friday's shooting was gang-related and appears to have been in retaliation for the earlier shooting. And this morning in Greenwich, Round Hill Road is closed between Lake Avenue and Pexland Road, where a tree and wires are down, according to emergency services. The earliest repairs could be completed, according to police, by 1 this afternoon. However, if that takes longer, those road closures could affect school buses taking students home. Police said that damage was caused by high winds. And the Sherman man who was arrested last week after 48 years on the run is out on bail and hoping to escape a return to prison. Robert Stakowitz spoke to CBS this morning in an interview that aired today. The 71-year-old who grew up in Bridgeport said his 1968 escape from a prison work camp in Georgia was the dumbest thing he's ever done in his life. Stakowitz had been serving 17 years on charges stemming from an armed robbery. After the escape, he settled in Sherman, a quiet town in northern Fairfield County. His lawyer, Norm Pattis, told the Associated Press that Stakowitz got a job as an automotive teacher at Henry Abbott Technical School in Danbury and also worked at a few Ford dealerships. Pattis said he will ask the Georgia Parole Board to commute the rest of his client's sentence. Stakowitz suffers from bladder cancer, diabetes, and other ailments. Well, we're going to throw it back over to Rob Adams for one final look at your forecast today. Rob?
All right, Kate, fingers crossed we're going to get these temperatures a little bit higher before the end of today. A mostly sunny day with a high near 62. The wind is your problem, though, out of the west from 14 to 17 with gusts as high as 30. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 46. Tuesday, chance of showers mainly in the afternoon, mostly cloudy and 67 for the high. To Tuesday night, more rain, cloudy, and 48 for the low. Wednesday, rain, mostly cloudy, 64. However, it's a 30% chance of rain. Fingers crossed that it gets on out of here. But it continues, at least the threat does, into Wednesday night. A 20% chance of precipitation, 48 for the low. Mostly sunny and 68 for Thursday, sunny and 71 for Friday. Mostly sunny, 72 Saturday, partly sunny, 72 for Sunday. Best I can get you weather temperature-wise. Norwalk, you're up a degree to 52. Fairfield staying steady at 51. Here in Shelton, 53 degrees, Kate.
Thanks so much, Rob. Well, we're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but still a lot to come today. Of course, Nutmeg Sports at 2, 6 o'clock, boys baseball. Check that out. But we'll see you for your coffee break tomorrow at 11. Have a great day.